Hello everyone, it's Lady Rose of Goddess Garage here, and I wanted to do a flip through of my latest journal that I custom made for someone. So I have this ribbon here because this is the ribbon that I'm using to tie this together and hold it down. And this customer wanted sort of, I find a lot of my clients want a mixture of a lot of things. So she wanted to go for Greek mythology, the goddesses, and also she loves history. History was her big thing that she wanted incorporated into her journal. She likes sort of the 1800s kind of history, or at least that's one of the times that she mentioned, as well as Greek mythology. So I incorporated all of that into this lovely journal. So this is the front here, and then on the side I put this piece of cloth or ribbon of sorts, and then I did up the beads as I usually do. With hers this time I kind of did a more delicate, it's not weighing the whole journal down. I tend to get over enthusiastic about doing these beaded sort of chains for the books, and I end up with like 10 of them and only put 6 on, but they're usually really long and super heavy. So this is nice. I've just got some nice delicate beads here for her, and she can use them inside her journal as little markers for the pages. So let's start by flipping the journal open. So I've got the first pages, I've got this doorway here, and then I've got a little key in the book ends or the book corners, and then a little saying, because I feel like she's entering this journal. And then I was really lucky because I've got this book. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it in my other flip throughs, because I do almost always incorporate some of this paper in everybody's journal. However, a lot of the times I'm covering it up. But with this client's journal, I didn't cover a lot of these up because they are actual headlines from actual papers that happened on that day. So this is San Francisco, Thursday, April 19th, 1906. This was a real paper that came out on that day, and this is what the headline was. So because she's into history, I kept a lot of these papers, and I put a couple more extra in hers because they do have a historical kind of thing. And then on the back of a lot of these papers, like this has 1907 for instance, and it has a little blurb about what was happening in 1907 around this particular story. Now this is the normal clear pocket that I usually put on the front, but I didn't want to put it on the front, so I put it on the next page with the number of the journal that it is. So these are the custom journals. So this is number 18 that I've done, and I just started yesterday working on number 19. And then these are some of the goddesses here that so the Greek mythology starts right away. I really liked this because in history, you know, we learn about ourselves, and you know, that said know thyself, and that there's another key theme as well. I had this really neat book too that I incorporated this page in, and I decided not to cover up parts of this book because it's the history of religion. Now it doesn't always make sense what it says because it's actually photocopied very old text that was taken down about the history of religion. It's very wordy but I thought it's a cool addition. And then I have this map page that I put in. I've got a blank page for her to write here. Then I've got one of my first pockets here. I think I've done a video on this, maybe I haven't, but it's a really good way to use up 6x6 squares and make a pocket as well. I'm just going to move this out of the way so that I can get each page in there fully, because I don't want you guys to miss out on anything. Okay, so this is the page we're focusing on here. And I had some mushroom postcards. I've got a tag in here, an oracle card. All my journals that I custom make for anybody always include a lot of oracle cards. You practically walk away with a deck once I'm done. Then I just thought this painting or this picture was really nice. I don't really know her story, but she was part of my Greek goddess kit that I got. And then I clipped her in with a bulldog clip. And so underneath you can journal on her and journal on this page as well. I try to leave a lot of room for journaling as well. Motivational thing. And then I just did up this little page. I believe this is the other half, the bottom half of that history of religion. I added some lace. Then I found this in one of my kits, Banish a Ghost. I just thought, oh, that's kind of cool. So I threw that in. Some graph paper here that she can journal on. More paper here that she can journal on. And I included also a little band there with a bunch of little sayings and some lace and that sort of thing. And then on the next page is one of my collage pages. And this is one of my goddess collage pages that I did. So I incorporated a lot of the goddess figures that were in there. The pomegranates, the roses, the shell that came with Venus, and that sort of thing. And then there's some journaling pages. And then I got this out of a murder mystery kit that I have, and it has all kinds of maps and weird kind of things you've got to put together and whatnot. So I've been incorporating the workbook pages of that into a lot of my journals. And it says, trust yourself and not all those who wander are lost. So I just thought that was kind of a neat thing. I was trying my hand at some painting, and I included a little embellishment there, and then I had flowers growing, so I put actual real paper flowers. And then I've got a little motivational thing here. There's some paper here to write on, coffee stained. And then this is one of my goddess cards, and because she's a Hindu one, I thought I'd include some really, really pretty sari material. I love this. I got this, I ordered it off Etsy. I can't remember who I ordered it from, but I got this whole bunch of all these little fabric swatches of saris, and it's awesome. I mean, I do have some saris that I've been cutting from as well, but it was kind of neat getting that little kit, so I thought I'd try it out. And then another journal page for her to journal on, more journal pages. So this page here is got a pocket here. So there's lots of blank papers in here for her to pull from. I've got a goddess whole story on one of the goddesses that's actually tucked inside here. So if you take a look, there she is. So this is more journal stuff if she wants, but this is the goddess who's stuck inside there, and her story is the story that I've written out for her. And then she's got a bunch of journal pages in there if she wants to write on them. This is another one of my collage type pages, as you can see. Then some more journaling pages, because I like to leave lots of room for actual journaling as well. I just thought this was a neat page, so I incorporated that in. Plus I needed to cover up a smaller page here. I've got a little sales form, and she can use that to journal on. So this is where we start to get into some of the history. So this is an actual photograph of in 1964, and it's in Alaska. An earthquake happened, and you can see the roads totally broken and cars have fallen in. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting picture, so I put that in there. Then I've got another tuck in here. I was trying my hand at some material, fabric kind of pockets, and I incorporated some lace. These actually worked out really nice. This is actually from a scarf I got at a thrift store, and it has all these sort of patchwork kind of things on it, so I've been cutting out the patches. And as you can see, it's stuffed full of all kinds of, there's a spirit, like owl spirit guide card here, envelope here. A lot of these envelopes have Greek goddess stories inside of them. Then there's a tag. This is the sage plant, so it's a card about sage. And then there's another little mystery message tucked into this tiny little envelope here. I like the little envelopes. Then this over here, so I had some camera stickers, and then I found some of these really cool, sort of from the 1800s, late 1800s kind of photos. So I taped them on there with a bunch of Atlas washi tape, and you flip this out. You can use this as some journaling. You can use this as some journaling. And then this flips out too. And it's a whole bunch of, it's a timeline history for Canada, starting around 1873 and going into 1874. So I just thought that I got that out of a book. I thought that was neat. And because it's Canada, it's kind of extra neat because we're Canadian, or I'm Canadian and my client's Canadian. So this is actually from Monet's art book, the artist Monet. These are some of his pictures. And then on this side, so this is a little bit more of that newspaper stuff. So there's just some headlines. It's not quite as headliney as this, but this is the New York Times. And this is the headline that came out on April 16th, I think it is. April 16th, 1912, of when the Titanic sank. So this is the actual headline that was on the New York Times, and you can see the picture there, and you can read a little blurb about it and that sort of thing. And then, of course, it goes into the survivors. This is the Virginia pilot. This is the next day, April 17th, because, of course, that was a huge thing when the Titanic sank. So this is the actual headline on April 17th that the Virginian pilots put out after the Titanic sank. And these are pictures of some of the survivors and that sort of thing. And there's little articles here, more journal pages, one of my collage pages here that I did up. Had a fun doing that. And then I've got another goddess page here. I didn't include the story for that one, so she's going to have to look that one up and maybe write the story there. Not all of them did I write the story for, because I'm not going to do all the work, right? So this is just a picture just to kind of get her, oh, this is cool, I don't know about this one, let's look it up kind of thing. So then more journaling pages, and then I've got a tuck again with that scarf that I was using. And this tuck holds a lot of things. There's Artemis, the Greek goddess there that I wrote about. This, I believe, has another goddess story in it, a tag that I did there, journal cards, and an oracle card in there. So there's lots tucked in there. More journaling paper. This is some of that vellum kind of paper. I just love the feel of this. I have no idea what it's like to write on, but hopefully she can use it in some way. And then I've got on the back of this a pocket. So I found this really cool illustrated book of wildflowers, and I've just been going gung-ho with this one. I'm going to do some tutorials about how to make pockets and doubled pockets and things like that. Had some postcard sort of cutouts, so I put it on there, and then I stuffed it, of course. And I've got in here I've got one of my index card journal cards that I've painted and stamped. There's a tag here, another tag here, and then a goddess card, oracle card in there. More journaling pages, as you can see, all nicely stained. This is one of the triple pockets that I did with the same floral book, and it's stuffed full of all kinds of journal cards and tags, and there's a secret envelope right there, so that's sort of hidden away on purpose, of course. And this has a little oracle card in it as well. I don't want it to get lost, so I'm gonna pull it out a little bit more. I mean, she'll find it, not to worry. There we go. So, triple one, which is always fun. Then on this side, I've got just something I kind of embellished up with some lace and lots of different laces. And then I gold trimmed, well, I painted the petals, the edges, and then I gold trimmed them as well. And then on this side, I have a bit of a collage thing happening, but this is also a little envelope that and there's a little secret message. There's almost always a little secret message in these kind of folded envelopes that I do. And I got some bee prints, and I just love the bees, so I put that all together there. And then more blank journaling pages. Now, this is Jason and Medea, and I did write their full story out, which was fairly long, but it's tucked in here so she can hear about, because a lot of times you don't always, you hear about the hero Jason because he's the hero of Jason and the Argonauts and Jason of the Golden Fleece. How often do you hear about her? Not very. And she's not portrayed particularly positively in Greek mythology, but I just thought it'd be interesting to include her story because not a lot of people hear about her. So yes, I do handwrite out a lot of the stories or things like that, spells or information that I include in each journal, because I do like to include a fair amount of information. So this is their story, and then there's another one tucked back in here. So here's her story. Hers is written on the back there. An oracle card, as you can see, is tucked in there as well. And then there's some other sort of Greek scenes there that she can either look up or whatever. This is, I learned a really cool technique of how to make paper flowers out of book pages. I'll probably do a video on that if I haven't already. I have to look and see what I've already done. But I had a lot of fun making these, and they just really added to that page. And then I did a Believe and butterfly page. Now, you'll notice this book is not as colorful as my usual kind of journals, because this client wanted more of a toned down, not super colorful kind of book. So I did put some color, but very toned, softer kind of colors. Nothing too pink, nothing too pastel-y or you know, pinky and that sort of thing. So you'll notice that a lot of the tones, I mean, I did put some color because one does want a little color, but a lot of it, as you probably have noticed, is on the softer, more brown, greens, beiges kind of side of things. And this is World War I, the first one, the War Years one. So that's a little blurb about it. It's on the back of one of these newspaper pages. I did actually cover this one up, but I kept the back blurb about it. This is a receipt from 1896 June, and then I put some kind of cool little things like this little saying here. It's more instructions. This came out of the Canadian Home Cookbook of 1877. The cure for ague: 4 ounces galagal root in a quart of gin steeped. Take often. So it was just kind of like interesting little things like that. I covered this page because it was a smaller page, because what I was doing was I was putting on the back of it a history, a picture of history. And this is Toronto's downtown King Street from the late 1800s. I didn't have an exact date, but that's a picture of what it looked like. And then this was interesting. Again, I got this out of a Canadian history book. And this microscopes were a really big thing in the late 1800s. Microscopes sort of came in, and things like fingerprints were starting to become part of normal science, where they would, you know, pick up fingerprints on crime scenes. Before that, they didn't really have a lot of knowledge about the fingerprints. But what this is this is what they're seeing in here, and there's all kinds of creepy crawlies and things, and it's supposed to be an artist's sketch, represents a microscopic view of the city water of Toronto, and it was in the Canadian Illustrated News in 1870. So that's kind of creepy, and apparently people were horrified to find that out. So that was kind of interesting, because I read the whole story in the book of this, but I didn't put the story in. But it's just kind of a interesting picture, I thought. Then this is a tuck page that I did. I have a little sort of vine growing here. It's got an oracle card, it's got some journal cards, a tag in there, and it's got mushrooms behind there as part of its decoration. Then some more blank journal pages. This is a picture, a photograph from Quebec City in the 1870s. So this is sort of like a little history book within the book. This is a letter that was written in 1879, I believe. This is the 1871 Farmer's Almanac that came out. This is one of the general stores. you know, because all over Canada they had general stores and they were packed full of everything. You could get everything at the general store. This is a railway ticket that was issued to the members, a member of Parliament. He rode the train March 31st, 1873. And this is a picture of what one of the railway cars would look like inside. They actually had literal furniture in there. And this is where government officials would ride. So that's the ticket. And then this is a picture of the Toronto Great Western Railway Station on Yonge Street. So that's what it looked like. I don't know if I have a time period there. I know it's like the 1800s, but I'm not sure of the actual date. Then we've got, this is actually nothing to do with, this came in a kit of like old receipts and stuff, so I just did it up with some of these. But this actually came out of the history books as well. They're talking about backwoods Canada and how they still very much in the 1800s reserved the day of rest. Sunday was the day of rest, and they literally were strict about it. Like, you could not do anything. You couldn't even make dinner. Everything you ate was cold that day. I remember reading in Laura Ingalls Wilder books, if anybody's ever read those books, about how much she dreaded Sundays because they weren't allowed to play. They couldn't eat hot food and all that kind of stuff. Hi, I'm just doing a video. Just hang on. And then this next page is an actual ad from Macy Toronto Farm Supply, and they keep going on their grand object of art. They won it a few times, I guess, and this is another one of their ads, the land of the maple, before it actually became Canada. So that's sort of what it was kind of known as, I guess. And then there's some more blank journal pages. This is one of my collage pages, and I put in some Milton verses here as well. So this is one of my napkins that I collaged on there. And then over here, so this is one of my hidden journals within a journal. This is an actual ad for a Prince Edward Island spring trip if you want to take it. Back in the 1800s, there's a little pocket here, and I've got a little tag in there. She can add more tags. Some journal pages for the mini journal. And then there's a secret pocket back here. I've got a little paper in here of some sacred geometry that she can use. And then, of course, this can undo. I put one of these in almost all my journals now, once I learned how to do it. So this opens up, and there's a lot of timely stickers there, but there's also some information stuffed in there as well. Some little surprises in there for her. So, and then she just ties it back up whenever she opens it up. Easy peasy kind of thing. And it's like a little mini journal with some hidden pockets within the journal. And then this is one of my collage pages that I did up. Again, I used very muted tones and whatnot. This is another page that's sort of collage, but there's room here if she wants to write. And then this is kind of fun. So I did put a little pink in there, but a lady's wardrobe. So again, I found another history book, and this came from one of my kits, but this is the history of fashion in the 1870s. And these are some of the pictures. So like this is some of the bathing costumes they could wear. And, you know, they weren't, the only time Victorians were allowed to have bare arms was when they were at the beach, and otherwise they were fully covered. I mean, they were wearing little mini dresses and pants into the water. And I've got some of the talking about it as well. This is the bustle. This is how exaggerated the bustle got. Like, it got to the point of almost being a table behind you. And it got so popular and so big, like, I mean, physically big, that a lot of times women were unable to sit down at all. This is a picture of children around the same time, and how it talks about how they were dressed just like their parents. And this is kind of interesting because this is an ad for corsets. And it says corsets lighter and tighter than whalebone for women and girls. And, you know, that's the reason why a lot of women fainted, was because of the corsets. And they would actually have operations to get the bottom rib removed, the 2 bottom ribs, so that they could fit into their corsets and have a smaller waist. That was the aim of the game. And then I've got some little tidbits of history here. Like, for instance, this one in the 1870s, it was with the introduction of the sewing machine, the one that we know of today at home, that white wedding dresses came into fashion because they could be made faster and more easily. They weren't hand sewn anymore, and wedding dresses up until that point were very, very rarely white, if at all. But white suddenly became a big thing because, again, a lot of times when you got married before the 1870s, you were given a nice dress to wear on your wedding, of course, but it became part of your everyday wardrobe as well. It was your Sunday best. It wasn't your wedding best. Then I've got another pocket over here. I've got another envelope stuffed with a story and some oracle cards. This is the back of one of those newspaper ones. And the last page is another tuck spot. And I found these. This is really cool. Oh yeah, so this one of the envelopes has a bunch of photographs from Russia, because I found these packs in the thrift store of all this Russian art and Russian photographs. So I thought I'd incorporate those into her journal. So hidden in here somewhere is an envelope full of Russian photographs of various sites, the Kremlin and things like that, all in black and white. Unfortunately, the backs of those pictures have a description of the picture, but they're actually in Russian. So unless you can get someone to translate, actually, I think it might be this pocket here, but this is one of the packs that I got. It's a postcard as well, and it's all in German. Oh no, it's in English and not German, Russian. So Russian and English. So this is St. Nicholas with scenes from his life. And that's because St. Nicholas is big there. So that's one of the art pieces that was drawn about St. Nicholas. So, and that's that flip through of the journal. So I'm glad you could join me on this flip through. I hope you got some inspiration and some ideas. I'll put my links below if you want to ever get a hold of me for one of your own custom junk journals full of whatever information you're into. Okay, thanks for watching, and please share with your friends if you think they'd be interested in watching some of my videos. Thank you for subscribing. If you'd like more of these videos, please let me know in the comments. And don't forget to ring the fairy bell so you know when I put up new videos. Thanks so much. Toodaloo.